The following is a special presentation on TNN, the Nashville Network.
As the smoke clears at the midpoint of the 1995 SuperTruck season, Mike Skinner still stands atop the heap. And Ron Hornaday could still remember the rush of going to victory lane. But as the trucks made their eastern swing, things tightened up considerably. New faces appearing in victory lane like Joe Ruttman at Bristol. And in the closest finish in the short history of NASCAR SuperTruck Series, victory finally embraced Butch Miller in Colorado. Now a new adventure awaits the SuperTrucks at a road course in the Heartland in Topeka. And guess who showed up to join the fun? Welcome live to Heartland Park in Topeka, Kansas, the site of the Heartland Tailgate 175 this afternoon here on TNN. A warm, warm day in the central part of the United States. Beautiful venue for the first road course event of the year for the brand new NASCAR SuperTruck Series by Craftsman. Very warm today, as you might imagine, folks taking shelter from the Midwestern sun as they can. 92 degrees the air temperature. Track temperature is a lot hotter. We'll hear more on that in a moment. Not very humid today and a light wind. Southwest winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour. There isn't a cloud to be seen anywhere. And we're glad to have you with us on TNN Motorsports today for the return of the NASCAR SuperTruck Series. I'm Rick Benjamin. We're looking forward to a terrific battle here today. We've got 33 SuperTrucks, biggest entry of the year. Some Winston Cup very familiar faces, some ASA veterans who've raced here before, and a host of really good road racers ready to do battle qualifying and practice. Most interesting here in the last couple of days, a lot of these truck drivers having problems finding their way around this course. It's a unique course, 11 turns, only 1.8 miles in length, and it's run pretty much like a modified oval. It's run in a counterclockwise fashion. Most road racing is done in the other way, clockwise. And in this particular situation, the main straightaway is the drag strip here at Heartland Park, so there's really good traction, very, very fast lap times. Let's get a look at how the battle is going point-wise. Of course, there's a big point fund up at the end of the season. This first campaign for the SuperTrucks, we're ready to go with the 12th race of the season. Mike Skinner is your point leader. He drives the Richard Childress truck. He's got a dozen points over Joe Ruttman. Butch Miller and Ron Hornaday and Bill Sedgwick round out the top five. And your second five looks like this. Sprague and Corelli will be on board with him today. Veteran road racer Scott Legacy and one of the Rick Hendrick team trucks is ninth. And Toby Butler rounds out your top 10. We're looking forward to some great battles today. Rick Hendrick himself has entered. It'll be his first start in a race car, race truck in a long, long time. That's one of the stories we're going to talk about. But the big story here is the heat. Here's Larry McReynolds.
Guys, if you think it was hot at Pocono 2 weeks ago, or even at Talladega last week, here at Topeka, Kansas, it's hot. I'm standing here where the trucks come off the last corner up on the main straightaway, and as you can see, the track temperatures in this area is already in the 140-degree range. Now, what track temperatures like this will do, it will magnify any problems that the trucks already have. They're really going to have to work to get forward bite. The rear wheels just won't want to hook up upon acceleration. What the drivers has got to do when they feel those rear wheels spin, they're going to have to back off, take care of those tires, and make them go the duration of each 30-lap segment.
It is going to be quite a challenge. We're pleased to welcome to TNN today Winston Cup superstar and truck team owner Ernie Irvin. How are you?
Oh, I'm real good.
Good to have you here with us today. Now, you've got two trucks in the race today. You've been out here in a passenger car. What kind of road course is this Heartland Park layout?
I tell you, we've never been here in a Winston Cup car. I tell you, this is one of the toughest road courses I've seen. I guess probably the thing that makes it tough is because there's no uphill or downhill or anything. So you can't really see the corner. It's going to be real hard to judge the corner. I think the road racers, the good road racers, are going to really shine today.
A lot of competition from the road racers, the Winston Cup stars who are here, and of course the Truck Series regulars who you've been enjoying all season long. Let's find out who some of those drivers are. Let's go trackside with TNN's Glenn Jarrett.
Well, thanks, Rick. You know, the guy on the pole here today is certainly no stranger to road racing. Ron Hornaday Jr. Last time he was at a road course was at Sonoma in a Southwest Tour race a couple of months ago. Sat on the pole there, went on to win the race. So you're not giving up anything to anybody when it comes to road racing experience.
Well, I tell you, Doug Richards and Papa John Chevrolet trucks doing a great job. We're just going to go out there and see what we can do for 60 laps. This track's a little different. It's flat, and we just keep them tires underneath us. That's what we need to do.
It's awfully hot, Ron. What's the, you got to have some kind of strategy about this weather.
Need some air conditioning, really. No, there's not really strategy. Just go out there and set a good pace and see what we can do. Really surprising, Mike Skinner up there on the outside pole, never been on road course racing. So, I mean, it's a tough field right now, and with Terry Labonte messing up qualifying, I'm sure he's going to be at the front. So we're just going to take this Papa John Chevrolet and do the best we can.
Well, and that will be awfully good. As I said, this man, very accomplished road racer. It is hot down here. Let's go back to the guy on the row behind me right here with Ralph Shaheen.
Glenn, take a really good look at this. This is it, folks, the first ever Roush Racing SuperTruck. And take a good look because driving it is Todd Bodine. Now, we're not so used to seeing you, A, in a truck, and B, this far up on the front of the rows of a road race. What's the combination key?
Well, I tell you, it's Jack Roush's experience in road racing really helped us a lot. And we got some Randy Gosses from the Trans Am team and all the boys from there. And Freddie Fryer's got a lot of experience road racing, all forms of racing. And, it's just a good combination. The guys from Michigan went to North Carolina and built the truck and learned from the Winston Cup teams there at Roush Racing. And they built a great truck. The thing's running great. Hopefully we can keep it on the racetrack and bring it home and up front.
For the first time, Roush Racing SuperTruck and driver Todd Bodine will start third on the grid.
And with all the road race experience that team has, I think you can look for great things from Todd Bodine today. We're looking forward to a terrific run here at Heartland Park in the NASCAR SuperTruck Series. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Heartland Park in Topeka as we watch some trucks on a ceremonial parade lap leading our field out here today. 175 kilometers of action coming your way, 60 laps. Here's today's starting lineup brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. First row, Ron Hornaday takes the pole. The Dale Earnhardt truck at 92.4 miles an hour. Mike Skinner, the Richard Childress Chevrolet alongside. Second row, as we talked about, Todd Bodine. He'll start third in the Roush Racing Ford, and Scott Legacy in one of the Hendrick team trucks. Rick Corelli will have our onboard cameras with him today. He'll start fifth. Bill Sedgwick, the California campaigner, will start in the sixth spot. Joe Ruttman in one of Ernie's trucks will start seventh in the 84. Darrell Waltrip driving the Kenny Schrader truck today. He'll start on the outside of the fourth row. NASCAR newcomer, really, and open wheel star Mike Bliss qualifies in the fifth row. And the winner at Colorado a couple of weeks ago, Butch Miller, will start on the outside. Sixth row includes Toby Butler and a guy who really ought to do well here today, I think, P.J. Jones in the Sears Craftsman truck, the number 1. Seventh row, Butch Gilliland and Jack Sprague from North Carolina. Row 8, Dave Rezendes driving Jeff Bodine's Exide Batteries Ford, and Rick Hendrick making his return to competition today. That's a red Budweiser Chevrolet truck. Ninth row, another guy who ought to do very well, former IMSA champion Davy Jones, sprint car superstar Sammy Swindell on the outside of row 9. Walker Evans and Mark Semo will be in row 10 today. Evans in the Dodge. The 11th row includes Michael Dockett and Terry Labonte, another driver we're looking for great things from. Labonte making his second truck start of the year. Bob Keselowski and ARCA veteran Ken Allen in row 12. Bob Bravac and Kerry Teague, the 13th row today. Raymond Daniels, new to the series, and Trans Am star Tommy Archer back in the 14th row. Archer in a new Ford. We'll talk more about him. Bob Jones in the 09 today, and the coach Jerry Glanville in the 81 in the 15th row. 16th row includes Bob Strait taking a provisional, the Target Expediting truck, and Steve Portengay having to take a provisional as well, and TJ Clark with his MTX Stereos truck. He'll be shotgun on the field starting 33rd today. Larry McReynolds, you've been out there taking a look at things. You've been all around the garage area. Who do you think should we expect to see going to the front early today?
Well, as you spoke in the opening, there's a lot of road racing experts in this field, but I'm going to tell you who I'm going to keep my eye on. Back here in row 11 is Terry Labonte. I got to believe it's not going to be far into this race. He's going to be a factor. I think Davy Jones, starting back on row 9, I think he's going to be right up there in no time short.
Ernie, your teammates, Mark Semo and Joe Ruttman, are they set to go today?
Well, I tell you, Mark Semo doesn't have a whole lot of experience in any type of car like this. So, I think he's just going to bide his time and do whatever. Joe Ruttman definitely has run good in practice, and, he messed up a little bit qualifying. So I think he's going to have a good go of it. But, I tell you, there's a lot of good road racers today, too.
We talked earlier about the shape of the road course here at Heartland Park. 1.8 miles. They're calling it 10 turns. There's that kink in the backstretch. Turn 1 is left-handed. 2 is left-handed. Only a couple of rights in this entire course.
I think that's, that's what a lot of guys, set up their trucks. They're ready for all the left-handers. They're giving up the right-handers because the left-handers is the most important thing.
We've got a couple of drivers who have invited you along for a ride here this afternoon as we watch the field moving around. This is Rick Corelli's Total Petroleum truck, and he is starting inside the third row. We'll be watching him from the driver's seat area, and we'll also get a look from up on top of the Total Petroleum truck today. And we'll even get the opportunity to look off the back deck as we see Corelli try to hold off the trucks that are going to start behind him. We're also going with Davy Jones here today, starting inside the ninth row, and I think Davy is going to give that truck a great ride. He's a terrific race driver. This is his first Truck Series start. Got a K-Tech motor in that thing, and it ought to be very, very strong today. We go up on top with Davy Jones as well. We'll be able to look out the back door with Davy Jones as well. So we're about set to go here at Heartland Park. Great to have you with us here on TNN. Truck field being led around by Skinner and Ron Hornaday, and getting ready to go to green here, gentlemen. 175 kilometers will go 60 laps around Heartland Park this afternoon. And we're looking for the green flag off the starter stand down by the Winston scoreboard. And there we go. We are underway as they head off toward turn number 1. Look at them go 5 wide here.
I tell you, that's what's going to happen here. The straightaway's real wide, but we're going to a corner, and it's a tight one.
Great move on the outside going down into turn 1 there as we watch the field sift through the corner. There's P.J. Jones and Davy Jones. Darrell Waltrip, one truck off. That is Mike Skinner right off at the first corner. Skinner gets it refired and in gear, and he'll rejoin. Everyone gets by. So Skinner, who started on the lead row today on the outside of the first row, he'll have to fall in behind and try to make up some ground. Very close racing as we head up toward turn 2.
And remember, Skinner's our point leader too. So he's we got another one a little bit off on the dirt. There's going to be a lot of trucks on and off the racetrack today.
Looking up ahead, I believe we're with Davy Jones right now. Looking up at Sammy Swindell as the cars move down into turn 3 and 4. Swindell a little bit out of shape there.
That's how we talked, early. These guys have really got to work for forward bite. And I would say at the start of this race, they've really got the air pressure in the tires down where it don't build so much in this 30-lap segment.
Under the Featherlight Trailers Bridge, trucks out of turn number 10 up onto the main straightaway. And Ron Hornaday is your leader as they take him down the main stretch to complete lap number 1.
Rick, you don't think that front straightaway is hot? Look at that heat coming up there.
That is a good indicator, isn't it?
Yeah, the heat's always rising. So, now Joe Ruttman, he's moved up to third already. So, that, like I say, not just because I help own it, but Joe's definitely been one of the good road racers.
He has always done very well. I remember him at Riverside years ago being very strong with Todd Bodine in the Roush Racing Ford up to second spot. And Todd, as we pointed out in the opening, I think when Ralph talked to him, not a driver you think of as a great road racer, but he's got a great road race team behind him.
Well, the guys up there at Roush Racing in Lavagna that field the Trans Am cars, obviously they win races constantly. So what he did, he pollinated those guys with the Winston Cup guys, and they built a super truck that's very similar to, I'm sure, the Winston Cup car that Mark Martin drives.
Corelli right behind him. That is a 3-truck battle for second spot, working through the S's here at Heartland Park in Topeka.
Really, Todd Bodine, the main thing is you got to get in a really good car in Winston Cup to be really good on a road course. And, Todd just hasn't really got that chance. Right now, he's got a really good vehicle.
Todd Bodine in second, Joe Ruttman in third, Corelli there in the Total Petroleum red, white, and blue truck. We're going to see how it happened here to Mike Skinner. This was right off the green flag. It looked as though Scott Legacy got out of shape there, too. Legacy in the 24 goes off, plowing up some turf.
It's possible that Skinner got off the racetrack trying to avoid a problem with Legacy or something there.
Scott Legacy had started a little deeper in the field trying to come up through there. Perhaps that's what caused the difficulty off the green flag. Glenn, what are they saying on pit road?
Well, guys, I heard a conversation between Mike Skinner and Scott Legacy right before the race started. Of course, Skinner on the outside in second, and Legacy was fourth. They were talking about how they were going to get down out of the outside groove. I asked them if that were going to be a problem. They were awfully concerned about it. Skinner told Scott if he were quicker to go on by and getting into the corner. But evidently that didn't happen. Whatever happened, it certainly was not what they planned because they were trying to get to the inside lane as quickly as possible.
Ralph Shaheen, you found out some other information on pit road.
We're with Rich Burgess, Mike Skinner's crew chief. How's the truck now, Rich?
Oh, he's doing fine. He just got off course, or either got together with Bodine or whatever, trying to get in line. And he's coming up through. He's just going to take his time. It's a long race, and we just got to stay on course now and, come up through.
Rick, it looks like the rear bumper or tailgate section of the truck might be a little bit loose.
Probably shouldn't cause too many problems. I wouldn't think aerodynamics would be a huge concern here.
They've got this long straightaway, so obviously it comes into play a little bit. But I talked to some of the crew chiefs. in the garage area this morning, and it's like, even though this is a road course, it's primarily left-hand corner. So they really set these trucks up basically like they have for a lot of their short tracks, because it's just got a few right-handers in some of the straightaways.
Watching a battle here for 5th spot. Mike Bliss in the 2 has that spot right now. Toby Butler in the 21, right behind in 6th. And the 52, you're very familiar with Kenny Schrader in that truck number, but it's Darrell Waltrip driving this weekend, the Schrader vehicle, as we race again. Now, this is for 3rd spot. Joe Ruttman trying to hold off Corelli there. And Ruttman does take the measure of Corelli as they work up through the back part of the road course here at Heartland Park, but a real dogfight going on there.
Yeah, I tell you, Rick Corelli has never been known as a great road racer either, but I think a lot of guys are going to be able to show their stuff, and they all got some really good trucks, and those 4 trucks right in the front are really definitely good ones.
Todd Bodine started 3rd. He took over 2nd spot right off the green when Mike Skinner went off the course. Todd now starts to stretch it out a little down the main straightaway, but so far nobody's had anything for Ron Hornaday at the Dale and Teresa Earnhardt Chevrolet. That's the Papa John 16 you saw blast by. There's Ruttman 3rd and the Mack Tools Ford. He is trying to work his way around Todd Bodine while trying to hold back Corelli in 4th. We've got a dandy underway. 4 laps complete at Heartland Park. We'll be back. Back live at Heartland Park in Topeka, Kansas. Good to have you with us this afternoon. A little bit of trash being tossed up on the track, and if we go back to the battle for 5th that we were showing you earlier, Toby Butler has dropped out of that competition. It's Mike Bliss in the 2. Right behind him, Darrell Waltrip in the 52. And DW seems to be coming up through there very nicely.
We all know Darrell Waltrip knows how to take care of those tires. He knows that's important here. He's got to make them go 30 laps, as we said, and I know he's going to be a factor before this thing's over as well.
And 1 truck off into the weeds. That's the 51 of Kerry Teague, the Rosenblum Racing Chevrolet. He's from Concord, North Carolina. Kerry, a veteran late model driver in the Concord area, an occasional Busch Grand National competitor, as we watch the trucks work up one of the short straightaways under the Winston Select Bridges, as I believe turn 8 here at Heartland Park. Beautiful layout and a great crowd on hand here today. Folks at Heartland Park really know how to put on a motorsports event. Of course, this track also the home to the ASA Series tomorrow. You'll see that race live here on TNN tomorrow afternoon. The ASA Mellow Yellow 300 coming to you tomorrow. So a good motorsports doubleheader this weekend from Heartland Park, and we're pleased to be here. Great battle. This is still Bliss in the 2, Waltrip in the 52. Ernie, are you biding your time at this point? We're just a few laps in. We're working lap number 8 right now. Is there any reason to be in a hurry?
No, there's really not. I think all the drivers they know that they're going to have a halftime. It doesn't pay anything to win this halftime. So, they're going to pay to win the overall, and that's going to come later. But the guys, always they're racers. So they're wanting to pass whoever's in front of them and get to the front. But I think Darrell Waltrip, like you say, he's saving his tires. Mike Bliss, we didn't even know he could road race. He's a sprint car or a midget guy. Man, he's doing a heck of a job because he's outrunning Darrell Waltrip.
He's turned a lot of heads, particularly his performances at Indianapolis Raceway Park the last couple of years, which isn't anything like Heartland Park, to be sure.
No, and we're going to Indy for the next race, so he's going to be a real good contender up there.
He'll be the favorite, I'm sure, next weekend. I think that race is Thursday night of the coming week as we watch Darrell Waltrip again trying to track down Mike Bliss as they battle it out for 5th spot. We can see Mike Skinner a little bit back there. Skinner went off earlier. He's coming back up through the field. Bill Sedgwick in the Spears Motorsports truck. He's sitting back in around 12th, 13th spot. And Glenn, what's going on in their pit area?
Well, Rick, he may be a little further back than that. He was running in the top 10, and I came up and asked the crew. I noticed he had fallen way, way back in the field. We got a caution coming out right now. We'll see if we can get what that's for. But anyway, I asked Sedgwick's crew what happened. They said they don't know. They guess he spun out or got lost or something, because they hadn't heard a word from him. He was just buried deep in the field. Also, Scott Lagasse looks like he had another problem. He's even further back than Sedgwick.
Glenn, we've got a real problem. Kerry Teague's truck is still stopped on the course, and a little fire's broken out behind the truck. That's the reason for the caution. It is so hot here, and the ground is so dry, and you put a hot racing vehicle on some of that tinder dry grass, and that's a recipe for some problems.
I tell you, the emergency workers, as you can see, they're right on top of it. They've got it extinguished and calling for more rescue workers to come over and help check Kerry out.
Didn't look like Teague hit anything when he went off the course. I presumed that he had developed some sort of problem with the truck, but they're going in at him. It's a little early, I would think, for a driver to be suffering from the heat here today.
Yeah, I tell you, it is definitely early, but you never know what somebody may have a problem.
Caution is out on the speedway here at Heartland Park as the safety crew goes to work with Kerry Teague. He's got the visor up. We see his head moving in there. We'll come back to update his condition in a moment. safety crew still attending to Kerry Teague from Concord, North Carolina. Teague's 51 spun off the course. We're looking out of Rick Corelli's race truck. We're going to see just what happened here to Kerry Teague. He's on the inside going into this corner. And right off and right across the corner, spinning into the outside, into the grass.
You know, Rick, I believe he knew he had a problem. You saw him motioning for that truck to go on the other side of him. He had just spun out a lap or two ago. Maybe he had flat spotted the tires, but he really took a hard lick there, as you can see.
We didn't see that happen first time around, so now I understand why he was slow to unbuckle and get out of the truck, because he did hit backwards on the front part of the truck there.
Yeah, I tell you, you know, it almost acted like the throttle hung or something. I mean, he really went into that corner a lot deeper than he would normally run in there.
He went to the inside grass, cut across in front of traffic, and then ended up on the outside of the race course. Obviously not what you want to do if you have some sort of problem. So the yellow continues to wave here at Heartland Park as the safety crew attends to Kerry Teague in truck number 51. And we ride around under caution. We're showing 10 laps complete. Remember, we'll split at halfway today. We'll go 30 laps, take a 10-minute break, give the crews a chance to work the trucks over if need be, and the drivers will get a brief breather. Then we'll come back for the final 30-lap segment today of our Heartland Tailgate 175. Still showing the 61 out in front. That would be Todd Bodine at the moment, being scored as the leader. We see Scott Legacy with some damage to that DuPont Chevrolet, taking it down onto pit road. We're going to take a timeout, come back and sort all this out for you, and slap the outside concrete backward very hard. They've brought what appears to be a life flight helicopter in next to Teague's truck. There's a safety worker inside. They've got his helmet off. Ernie Irvin, having gone through something like this, this is not a comfortable situation to be in.
Well, it's probably not. I don't remember anything about it. Larry probably remembers more about it than any of us.
You know, it's never really a good sign when the helicopter comes in, but normally sometimes that's just precautionary. You know, they want to take him to a hospital that has a lot of facilities just to make sure that everything's in good shape.
Trucks continuing to roll here at Heartland Park under caution. Let's go to Ralph Shaheen on pit road. Ralph, how's the Mike Skinner team tackling things?
Well, actually, Rick, I don't know, but Ron Hornaday I can tell you about.
Okay.
Ron Hornaday is leading, but he's not doing exactly everything perfectly. Having some troubles with it, Doug Richard?
Well, you know, we're not running quite as good as we'd like right now, even though we're in the lead. He's complaining a little bit of some looseness, though. You know, it's a long race, and we're just trying to look for the second half right now, so we can kind of baby it along here and look towards halftime and maybe do a little work on it.
Now, you were saying he was talking about most of the looseness is when he's turning left. That's got to be a big problem here.
Well, the last report I got, we're a little loose both ways, so that gives us a little something more to think about for halftime, and we'll make some more adjustments, and Papa John's Racing Collectible Chevrolet, hopefully he'll be running a little stronger on the second half. That's when it counts.
Now, one other driver who's been in and out of pit road a couple of times during this break, gentlemen, is Scott Legacy. He's been adjusting the brake bias, moving more from the back to the front, trying to set up the balance of that number 24 truck as well.
Being shown back in 27th spot after 11 laps here, and great things were expected from Legacy today. Qualified in a rather disappointing, he said, position here over the first couple of days. The trucks were at Heartland Park and start from 4th spot. He was hoping, I think, for a pole run. Talked to him this morning a little bit, but they're working on that truck, trying to get it ready to go. We continue under caution here. Well, noticing turn 10 where the trucks are coming out as we watch the work being done on Kerry Teague to get him out of the race truck. It's very narrow coming out onto this main straightaway here, and you see the rubber, the truck's obviously getting off the course pretty much there.
It's kind of a sweeping left-hand corner. It's like the corner runs out. You can see it cuts back really too quick, and you run out of corner in a hurry. And you know, listening to Doug Richard, it's kind of a relief when a driver of the road course says, I'm loose both directions. When you get a problem is when you're loose one way and tight the other. The car won't turn the other way, but probably what they're going to look at is maybe softening the rear springs. They may even try to put a little bit bigger sway bar. And listen to the Scott Legacy problem. That's a problem that we encounter a lot at road courses, where the truck will have too much rear brake, and that'll make the car loose, especially getting in the corner. So if they can get some of that rear brake away, then that'll tighten it up getting in the corner, and really won't affect it anywhere else because you're not on the brake.
But Ernie, isn't getting into the corner the key part to doing well on a road course?
Oh, definitely. You got to get into the corner good, but the exit is the most important part. You don't want to give up anything on the entrance, but if you can exit the corner at the right angle and things like that, and the exit at the speed, that's what's going to make you win the race.
Well, one driver who certainly got a chance here as we work into the middle portions of today's event, Todd Bodine in that new Roush Ford. What's going on pit road with the Roush team, gentlemen?
Guys, this is Freddie Fryer. He is the crew chief. Of course, we know Freddie from the Busch Grand National days, worked with Ward Burton. We've talked with him a lot, and got a report that the lead truck was a little bit loose. What's Todd saying about your Ford?
We're finding the same problem at the present time, Glenn. Only in the left-handers. He said the truck is really good in the right-handers, but I think the 16 truck is coming back to us a little bit. We're not running any faster, but he's slowed up a little.
Got to feel good about the first time out about how that truck's running.
I definitely feel good about that, and I feel good for working with Jack Roush. You're a great guy.
He certainly is. And if you'll notice, guys, that truck has Roush Racing on it. It is unsponsored. They are looking for a sponsor. If you're a potential sponsor out there, you cannot go wrong working with Roush Racing.
You sound like you're getting a cut out of that deal, Glenn. I don't know. I think Jack can afford to field the truck somehow.
Yeah, I'm sure he can.
12 laps into the books. We're still under caution for the Kerry Teague spin and wall banging incident a few laps ago, and Hornaday continues to lead. It sounds as though Todd Bodine must be saying on the radio he's ready to go after him when we go green him.
It sounds like they've really got a good truck here today. And I'm going to tell you, Freddie Fryer is really a smart individual. I remember racing against him or working on cars that raced against him way back in the 70s when we was running cars all over the Southeast, and he was a heck of a race car driver in his day.
Sure was. I can remember him in Texas, where I spent a few years, and he was a champion down there many times of the All-Pro Series and won a bunch of races in his short track cars, in his short track driving. They just hung him up really a few years ago. It hasn't been that many years ago since he stopped driving at probably an age well into his 50s, I would say. Still under caution here at Heartland Park. Still working with Kerry Teague, and we hope to get an update on Teague's condition for you in a moment. We'll be back for more NASCAR SuperTruck action. Getting a look at some of the surrounding areas here at Heartland Park in Topeka. We're right by a place called Forbes Field, which is evidently an old Air Force base. I don't know all the history of this, but they've got some great static displays over there. If you like aircraft, it's an interesting place to drive through. I took a ride through there on the way in this morning. They've got some beautiful restored airplanes. We've got a huge motorsports weekend coming up for you here on TNN today and tomorrow. We talked about the ASA show here from Topeka tomorrow afternoon, but right after our broadcast concludes, join Mike Joy and Buddy Baker. Randy Pemberton will be at South Boston for the Busch Grand National Series, the Ford Credit 300 from South Boston, coming up at 5 Eastern time right after we leave you from Heartland Park here today. Hope you can be with us. Of course, tomorrow we've got NHRA Today and Race Day at 11:30 Eastern. We're going to be jetting back to Charlotte tonight to bring you Race Day tomorrow at 11:30 and 7:30. The ASA show live here on TNN tomorrow afternoon as well. So we've got tons of racing. No need to go out in the heat wherever you are around the land here this weekend, the end of July, almost August, almost time to send the kids back to school. Where's the summer gone? Where's racing season?
Racing season is getting away in a hurry. It really is. You know, it's not going to be no time at all. We're going to be looking at those last few races and saying, okay, who's going to be the champion in all these divisions?
As we watch the trucks continuing to circulate under caution, in case you missed it a couple of moments ago, this caution brought out by Kerry Teague. We're going to show you again from our onboard Rick Corelli camera. Teague directly in front there in the 51, the orange and yellow truck, and watch him go left across the grass here.
And he was waving his hand, like Larry said, like his brakes were gone or something. Maybe that's what it was.
Right across the course to the outside and across the grass. And we've got a shot of Teague now backing across, and you pick up speed sometimes on the grass.
Yeah, hit the edge of that wall, you know.
Yeah. You've stopped quick and you've turned backwards all at the same time. Not a good situation. Ralph Shaheen investigating things in the Kerry Teague pit area. Ralph, what are you hearing down there?
Well, this is Kerry's pit, and as you can see, there's nobody here but us. His crew is all run down to the scene where Kerry is at to see how he was doing. This is one of the smaller budgeted teams on the tour, so the few people that are here to help Kerry have all made their way over to check on their driver.
Well, we'll continue to pursue it, try to find out what is going on. As we showed you a few moments ago, the life flight helicopter was there, and that always it can be just a precautionary measure, but certainly something of concern to all of us. Still 27 trucks on the lead lap, and we're 14 laps into things here at Heartland Park today. 60 laps, our distance 175 kilometers, and I'm very impressed with this facility. Have you ever been here before to see Heartland Park?
Never had been to Kansas at all. The whole facility is just beautiful. You know, I've watched the drag races on TV, and they've done an awesome job here, and it's in a beautiful country. It's just beautiful. Even when we come in on the airplane, it just everything was so green. But I never anticipated this kind of heat here.
Very hot here, but it's a dry heat, like they say about California and Arizona. It's really a not very humid day.
It's not like back in North Carolina where the humidity equals the temperature normally, but it is a beautiful facility. They've done a great job here, and look forward to seeing a lot more racing here in the future.
I know they're pleased to have the NASCAR SuperTruck by Craftsman Series on board here for its inaugural season. Well, the trucks continue to circulate under caution, and gentlemen, we're told by NASCAR Control that they're going to bring the red flag out, shorten up the midpoint break. As hot a day as it is, just a way to save the trucks, perhaps?
Well, I think this is a good move because the fans come here to see a race, and we've already run 6 or 7 laps under caution, and you know, they want to see more racing than that. So, you know, they feel like they need to correct the problem down there and let the fans see a lot of racing. What this will do, the good part, it'll give these drivers and crew chiefs a good time to communicate. What kind of changes can we make during the break? Now, the downside is we've had such a long caution. Now we're going to have the red flag. The tires are going to cool down, and it's not going to give them a real long green flag run to find out what the car is going to do on into the segment.
Still under that full course caution for the Kerry Teague incident. And the pace truck bringing the trucks down the main straightaway here. The red flag waving, as you can see at Heartland Park. We're showing 15 laps. This should be the 16th lap complete now. Just a quarter of the way home today. We'll be back to sort out what's going on after this. Back at Heartland Park in Topeka, Kansas on TNN. Great to have you with us today. Rick Benjamin, Larry McReynolds, Ernie Irvin on pit road today for us. Glenn Jarrett and Ralph Shaheen. I want to remind you, tomorrow, as we mentioned, a huge weekend of motorsports here on TNN. Tomorrow, the Mellow Yellow 300, the ASA Series, will be live here from Heartland Park, 3 o'clock Eastern on TNN Motorsports. And, of course, all the highlights of that one tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern on race day. You can join us for those programs tomorrow. The ASA cars put on a terrific show here at Heartland Park. We're going to show you what is going on. You see the race truck stopped on the main straightaway behind the pace truck. The red flag has been brought out after 15 laps here at Heartland Park. Kerry Teague, a hard ride into the concrete wall off of turn 2. If you recall our course description at the top of the broadcast, most of Heartland Park is left-hand corners. It's really kind of a modified oval, this 1.8-mile layout. Trucks go down the main straightaway, which is really the drag strip here, the left-hand turn 1, then the left-hand turn 2. We've seen the replay. Ernie, you pointed out a couple of times it looked as though Kerry maybe was out of brakes when he went down across the grass and across the racetrack.
You know, me and Larry were talking just a little while ago, and before, you know, a few laps before that, evidently Kerry had some problems and spun. You know, maybe he broke a brake line or something like that, and it looked like they show on the deal he waved, and you could tell something was wrong because he drove into that corner and acted like he couldn't slow down.
You can see the safety crew at work. The life flight helicopter is there. They have used jaws of life to get the roof of the truck free. Ralph Shaheen should be in position down by the incident. Ralph, what's going on down there?
Rick, as you can see over my shoulder is the scene of the incident. Kerry's truck is parked out there. The life flight helicopter's there. The emergency crews are with them, and the crews are tending to him as quickly as they can. No report yet as to what his condition is, and of course in a situation like this, nobody's going to say anything until we know exactly what the situation with Kerry is.
Matter of real concern here at Heartland Park anytime you see that much activity around the race truck, and we didn't see it happen initially, but on the replays now that we've looked at a couple of times, you could tell he smacked that wall with the left front corner of the car very solidly.
You know, Rick, a lot of times the jaws of life is just a precautionary too. Maybe they don't want to. It's hard to get them out these windows of these trucks, so that just makes it a little easier for him to get out and make sure that they don't do any further damage if any's done at all.
Well, they have a full medical staff, of course, here at Heartland Park, Topeka. No NASCAR Touring Series goes anywhere without one. And the track staff, of course, very capable. They've been racing here for many years now. This venue not only hosting the Super Trucks today, but also hosting the ASA Series again. This would be the 5th or 6th time the ASA has been here. And the NHRA Winston Drag Racing Tour races here twice this year. So they're very well versed in taking care of these kinds of situations here at Heartland Park. And we know that the situation is being handled as well as it could possibly be taken care of. And our thoughts are certainly with Kerry and his family and his crew. You come all the way from Concord, North Carolina with a small crew to race at Heartland Park, and this is not a good way to end your afternoon by any means.
Well, I tell you, Rick, you know, I've been in this position, of course, with Ernie last August, and the scariest feeling as a crew chief or a crew member is not getting the report, you know, not really knowing what's going on. And the biggest relief is when you do get the information, you know, whether it's good or whatever, it's just knowing what's going on. It's really scary when you don't get the information at first.
You feel powerless in a situation like that when you don't know what's happened. That's very true. Well, the chopper is sitting there ready to remove Kerry to a nearby hospital. We'll continue to stay on top of the story for us. And again, let's take you through this. This is down a short straightaway off of turn 1 into 2, and that's Teague on the left side of your screen there. And you can see, Ernie, you're saying you can see him in the window waving as he went inside the 09 truck too, and right across the course, throwing up a tremendous amount of dirt there.
Yeah, I mean, and then now I think on the other part of the deal, now we can see it looks like just right at the driver's door that hit right the end of this wall.
Backing into the wall and slapping with that left side. And now here's another angle. We found another piece of replay tape to show you, and you can see how he collided with that cement barrier. Road courses, and Heartland Park is no different. It did tear up a good bit of sheet metal there on the back side of the truck, on the left-hand side, on the driver's side. The walls are very far away from the racing surface here, and a lot of people think that's one of the advantages of road racing, that there's no wall close up for you to hit. If you have a problem, you get back on the course with no difficulty. Ernie, you were saying sometimes it's even more dangerous when a track is laid out like this.
Well, it's not necessarily more dangerous, but anytime you have a wall that you can hit, I mean, we'll find a way to hit it. And, you know, being a driver, this is just a normal thing. Sears Point, most of the walls are real close to the racetrack, so we think, oh, well, that's what makes it, you know, more dangerous.
Yeah.
But these walls are a long ways away. Normally, that's a sign that you have a lot of stopping time. And I know a lot of the drivers have been off. Nobody's really hit nothing all day, so all weekend, and most all the drivers have been off course, on course, and you know, that's the thing, that because the walls are so far away, that they've been able to just keep on continuing.
Crew's continuing to work on the 51 race truck. That's the Kerry Teague vehicle, and Kerry injured, and we hope it'll be good news when they get him out of the wreckage and get him to some medical attention. Of course, the medical crew is there providing attention right now in the truck, but they obviously would like to get him out of the vehicle and get him to a hospital location. Glenn Jarrett on pit road for us. Ron Hornaday has had this field covered from the drop of the green today, Glenn.
Well, pretty much, Rick. And, you know, I asked him at the top of the show about if there was any strategy about the heat, and he said, no, not really any strategy, but things getting a little hot out there, Ron?
It sure is. I'm cooking my right foot pretty good. Come the halftime here, we're going to end up taking this toe out of the window and put it on my foot. But, you know, Doug Richards, everybody done a great job on this truck. I don't know what happened the first start of this race, but I see Skinner got sideways. Every lap we go around this track, there's something different. A little bit of grass on it, a little bit of dirt, and so it's a different track every lap.
Well, just so you'll know, Todd Bodine and Mike got together a little bit there, and I think Scott Lagasse spun to avoid it, so caused a little trouble there. We got a report that your truck is a little bit loose. We're also hearing some of the guys say there's a good bit of gravel and grit and stuff in the corners. That can't help.
No, it can't. That's what we're looking at. This Papa John Chevrolet is doing a great job right now, but we're just got to see if it's the track being dirty or if the thing's loose right now. But I've had a tendency to be a little loose turning left right now, but we're going to get ready for it, and we'll see what we can do this first half.
Well, he's done well so far. He's just trying to cool off. They're going to probably bring some more water over here and put on that cooked right foot. He's hot, guys.
He needs it. Probably needs some ice in there. The engine configuration these trucks run may contribute to that. We'll talk about that when we come back in just a couple of moments here at Heartland Park at Topeka. We're under red flag conditions. We're pleased to have you with us on TNN. Topeka, Kansas, the Heartland Tailgate 175 live on TNN this afternoon. Rick Benjamin, Ernie Irvin, Larry McReynolds here. And now trackside for us, Glenn Jarrett, Ralph Shaheen fighting the heat today. There is the Kerry Teague truck. It is being removed. We're told that Kerry was talking to the rescue crew moments ago when they got him out of the truck. So that is certainly good news. He's in the life flight chopper, we're told.
That's really great news. And as you saw, you know, the truck really looked tore up there, but the thing you got to remember, and we've seen this many times, is a lot of damage is done when they're trying to extract the driver out of the truck. So you know, it was a bad accident, but not as bad obviously as what this truck's showing right now.
They did cut it apart to remove him. They had a backboard there for him, and good news indeed that he was conscious and talking to folks. We'll try to get a little more information on Kerry Teague for you and let you know just exactly what the situation is. We're under red flag conditions right now, and Ron Hornaday has set the pace all the way. We've talked about this facility here at Heartland Park, the 1.8-mile road course, and what a wonderful place this is to come to do an event and come to watch an event. Also a great place to come and run an event. They've been wonderful hosts to us so far this weekend. I understand the race trucks have fired back up now that the Kerry Teague vehicle has been removed from the guardrail area, from the runoff area outside turn 2. Pace truck takes him back out. 15 laps of 60 into the books here today at Heartland Park. Going to shorten up the midpoint break, we're told, to 5 minutes. So these drivers have had a little break, and they'll be running quarters, kind of like a football game today, more than in 2 halves. We're going to be back to bring you the green flag once again here at Heartland Park at Topeka on TNN. Racing here at Heartland Park, and this is the battle for the lead as you see the 16 of Ron Hornaday trying to hold back the challenge of Todd Bodine, Joe Ruttman, Rick Corelli back in 4th spot, Mike Bliss right behind him in 5th. We're noticing some of the drivers coming up. Darrell Waltrip, Terry Labonte's making a nice move toward the front. This is going to get good here.
It really is. And, you know, this type of restart for these drivers, it had to be a big relief. At every SuperTruck race this year, it's been double file restart. The leaders have had to contend with the lap traffic, so now these guys that's up front, they can go after each other right away without having to contend with the lap traffic.
Watching them funnel down into one of the right-handers. This is the little S portion of the racetrack before you come back out onto the main straightaway. Hornaday still out on top in the 16. He's led all the way. Todd Bodine making his first series start in that 61, that Ford truck of the Roush Stables. Joe Ruttman, who won in Bristol several weeks ago, in third in Ernie Irvin's race truck. Good battle down into turn number 1. Left hand most of the way here at Heartland Park, and we're really starting to get going here. As warm as it's been, and there's trouble coming off the last turn. If we can take a look onto the main straightaway, Scott Legacy has spun again. There's Legacy getting pointed in the right. He's going to dive right around and make the big 360 here. Good thing there's no traffic coming on. Just enough turning radius to get that thing pointed in the right direction.
It's a good thing this front straightaway is as wide as it is.
Todd Bodine off course.
Bodine dropping down onto the inside and losing a couple of spots to Ruttman and Corelli, so that knocks Bodine back to 4th. He had been up to 2nd early.
It's getting exciting now.
It sure is. We see a little paint scraped on the white paint, on the white sheet metal there.
Everybody's had a little bit of break, and I guess they got energetic again.
Now, we had a break of several minutes. Will the tires go cold as hot a day as it is here?
No, they won't go cold, but you know, some of the air pressure will change in them, and you know, most of the guys start with a little low air pressure, and you know, the air pressure is probably pretty much the same now. Todd's having a lot of trouble right now.
Very loose coming off turn 11 here at Heartland Park and up through the gears onto the main straightaway. Darrell Waltrip has sneaked by on the inside, so that's a battle for position 2. DW coming up to take 4th.
You know, like Larry said earlier, you know, DW is one of the guys that's going to save that truck, and he's going to be a contender towards the end of this race.
Leader continues to be Hornaday. Right behind him is Joe Ruttman in the 84. Corelli in the 6 moving by in 3rd. There's Waltrip and Kenny Schrader's AC Delco truck. He is now 4th. Todd Bodine kicked back to 5th spot after that little off-course ride.
And people got to realize, you know, Darrell Waltrip's running this truck for Kenny Schrader, and it's not because Kenny wrecked last week. You know, it's all because Kenny's over there in Michigan doing the IROC race.
Yeah.
So, you know, Kenny Schrader's all right. He's going to run the race tomorrow, and he's been here qualifying, and you know, he just has a black eye, it looks like.
Took a hard lick. It scared a lot of people as hard upside down as he went last week in Talladega, but he was in good spirits by Sunday night. P.J. Jones off the race course. We were looking for great things from P.J. Jones today, former IMSA GTP champion, and he's plowed up some dirt there too.
He's had a lot of trouble here all weekend. You know, P.J.'s been off course more than he's been on course.
The 25 truck that you saw right in front of him, that's the truck being driven by Rick Hendrick. He told us earlier that he had not raced in several years. I was trying to remember. I knew he had run here, and it was in an ARCA car about 3 years ago that he did very well here at this race course. Now we see P.J. Jones, and there's Bill Sedgwick and Rick Hendrick on the inside, and Hendrick takes the measure of Jones down the main straightaway.
I tell you, Rick obviously he's having a good time. You know, I remember him running Riverside in a Winston Cup car several years ago, and actually out-qualified one of his own drivers. So
yeah.
he's having a good time, and that's great.
Raced some IMSA Firehawk Series events years ago. Won a couple of them, as a matter of fact, a couple of class victories. A very good road racer, and a guy who obviously likes to relax by going to the racetrack from his many business pressures. P.J. Jones trying to get things sorted out back on course, puts it up on 2 wheels. He talked to us earlier about what it's like to race here at Topeka.
I think you see a lot of jumping and bouncing over and grass, and it seems like, you know, these things really react a lot when you put a wheel in the dirt or you put a wheel on the curb. It really helps the car turn, so I think you're going to see a lot of that.
Very pressured. He had his crystal ball plugged in yesterday when we shot that piece of videotape with P.J. Jones.
You know, one thing we were talking about Rick Hendricks. Evidently, Rick Hendricks has about 14 dealerships up in this area, so that's one reason he likes to come up here. This is one of his big areas, and he also likes to race. Obviously, he likes to race, or otherwise he wouldn't own 3 Winston Cup teams.
And that's some pretty good company he's keeping right now, and he's holding his own. He's really doing a good job.
P.J. Jones in the 1, trailing Sedgwick in the 75, and Rick Hendrick in the 25, battling for position deeper in the field here at Heartland Park. That's a battle, I would say, back around 23rd, 24th spot as we check our scoring monitor. P.J. Jones in the Sears Diehard number 1. Didn't qualify as well as he wanted to, qualified only 12th. Former IMSA prototype champion, raced for Dan Gurney for many years, and looks like he's maybe in IndyCar racing next year. The Dan Gurney Toyota team is going to join the IndyCar circuit, and PJ expecting to have one of the rides in one of those team cars next year. But he's happy to be in the SuperTruck Series for NASCAR this year and trying to pick up his first victory of the season. We talked about Terry Labonte. Ernie, you were saying this is a brand new truck, this DuPont number 5.
Yeah, I talked to Terry quite a bit yesterday before qualifying, and you know, that's a brand new truck, and it's a really nice truck. Hendricks and them build really good trucks or cars or anything they build, and you know, Terry said, man, this is the best one we've had, and it's brand new, and he thought he was going to be in contention sometime today.
He's getting close. He is up to 6th position right now. Remember that he started back in 22nd outside row 11. Texas Terry Labonte from Corpus Christi in that number 5 race truck with the DuPont colors on it, but his familiar Winston Cup number 5. And he is a guy that doesn't say a lot of times, but he's just very quietly effective and a terrific race driver.
His driving style fits road racing perfect. He's smooth. He's easy with the throttle. He understands everything, that you just don't drive a truck on a road course with a steering wheel, that you drive it with the throttle as well. And I tell you, when you move from 22nd to 6th in as few laps as we've been racing, your truck's working awfully good.
22 laps on the scoreboard, not quite to halfway. We'll be taking a brief break at the 30-lap mark today of our Heartland Tailgate 175 as we watch Labonte move through the S's and come back toward the main straightaway here at Heartland Park. Lap times here, qualifying and quick times are around minute 10, minute 11. Some drivers around a minute 12 and 13. And you see that on a road course, much more of a gap usually in qualifying as we watch Labonte. He's trying to track down Todd Bodine. The first 6 trucks on the racetrack are battling for position. Here are your leaders coming down the main straightaway. Hornaday in the Papa John's, the red and white truck, and then right behind him, the Ford, the Mack Tools truck of Ruttman, then the 3rd place truck of Corelli. We see Waltrip, Bodine, and then the 5 of Labonte. Now, Tommy Archer, a driver we talked about briefly at the top, former Trans Am standout. He's moving up in his Ford, 2nd start of the series, and Tommy Archer to the inside of Butch Miller as they move down into turn 1. Glenn, that team, that 03 team, the Archer Motorsports team, looking for great things here today.
Well, they really are, Rick, and he's doing a great job. He started 28th. He's battling for 9th right now. He had trouble qualifying. It stuck in high gear, so he could not shift during his qualifying lap. He told me this morning he thought he had something for him, and I'm telling you, I'm impressed. This is like you said, only his 2nd time out. He's got his home state of Minnesota, the Office of Tourism, as a sponsor today. They're looking at coming on with him for the series. And also the All-American Race Car Museums in Gaylord, Michigan. Got a bunch of folks back there watching on a 10-square-foot screen. So They're watching this truck race today. Tommy Archer won the very first truck race ever at Heartland Park in 1989, driving a Jeep.
And if you have good memory, if you follow all kinds of racing, you'll remember that the Archer brothers, Tommy and Bobby, have fielded cars in several different road race series over the years. And that's right, I'd forgotten about that, but the SCCA used to have a series for very small trucks, and that's how the Archer brothers really got going in road racing, was in that truck series. So he knows what it's like to throw a truck around the road.
I tell you, you know, they said that at Sears Point, when the guys were getting ready to go out there, we had one of our trucks testing out there with Joe, and you know, Tommy Archer was one of the fastest trucks out there, and you know, Joe Ruttman's a fairly good road racer, and Tommy Archer's a real good one too.
5th place belongs to Todd Bodine in truck 61. He was up as high as 2nd earlier, got off course briefly in that brand new Roush Ford, and that is a car that's got some really good road race technology built into it, we're told, because as we've mentioned a couple of times, the Roush team, of course, fields road race cars in IMSA and mainly in the Trans Am series of SCCA. They combine some of that technology with Winston Cup type technology to make this truck.
You know, Todd, it looked like he's still a little bit loose there up off the corner, but he's coming back to Darrell and them. Possibly when they went back racing, a lot of times after a caution, the tires will pick up a lot of rubber, and it'll almost make you feel like you've got a flat tire. That possibly may have what happened with Todd a while ago.
Bodine down the main straightaway, trying to reel Darrell Waltrip in as they will battle it out for 5th. Right in front of them is the Rick Corelli race truck. Here's DW to the inside. You see that orange stripe atop that blue bumper. Corelli in the 6, Waltrip in the 52, Todd Bodine in the 61. That's a battle for 3rd. And Corelli getting past. It looks like he may be off the pace. That's the onboard camera we have out the back deck of Corelli's Total Petroleum truck. He went to the outside and seems to be slowing down as Todd Bodine moves by him.
It was really good to see Rick Corelli having a good run. Those guys have really had a tough season this year, and it was good to see him up there running up front. And the day's not over with yet. Maybe they can correct their problem on this break.
If you miss a shift, that'd be enough to put you off going into a corner like that, wouldn't it, Ernie?
Oh, definitely. You know, one thing that we really haven't touched on is we were talking a lot about Terry Labonte. You know, normally, you know, you'll have an in-car camera and show Terry's footwork. Now, Terry's footwork is a lot different than Ernie Irvin's footwork because Terry acts like he knows what he's doing. And Ernie Irvin's footwork is just like a normal short track. I don't ever touch the clutch. And
that's what those Jericho transmissions are for, right?
That's what I thought, you know. Some of these guys, they go ahead and use the clutch and everything, and that's what Terry does. He heels, toes, and does everything like a road racer.
Todd Bodine has done a great job here starting third. He's fallen back a little, trying to get back into contention into the top 3. Ralph Shaheen is in the Roush pits.
Well, Ken Pillsbury's been over here checking tire temperatures on these tires. They're getting everything ready to go for changing them. Now, these Goodyear tires, gentlemen, are the same kind of compound that the Winston Cup guys run at Sears Point. Now, Larry, some of the guys are telling me the big difference for the trucks and the Winston Cup cars is the fact that there is no cambered rear end on this car or this truck, and that makes a big difference.
Glenn Jarrett, what else is going on pit road?
Well, also, Larry McReynolds, you were exactly right about Todd Bodine getting loose on the restart. They said he may have picked up a little rubber, but Freddie Fryer told him just to back off and take it easy. They were adjusted at the brake. Rick Corelli fell back. The very same thing. His crew chief, Joe Garoni, just told me it started getting real loose. He said, hey, man, just cool it. We're close to the brake. We'll fix it then and let you go in the second half. So everybody's starting to see some tire wear now, excessive heat. They're just getting loose. They're all trying to take it easy.
Todd Bodine trying to get close to Darrell Waltrip and battle for that 4th position. They come off the 11th turn here at Heartland Park and up onto the main straightaway. We see Mike Skinner. No, that's not Mike Skinner. That's one of the other black Chevrolet trucks minus its hood. Your leader, Ron Hornaday, in truck number 16 off into turn number 1. Hornaday's been out front all the way. He's got Joe Ruttman right behind him. Also the truck of Darrell Waltrip. We'll be back at Topeka. Leader there, Ron Hornaday. Joe Ruttman right behind him. Ralph Shaheen on pit road. Is Hornaday worried about fuel, Ralph?
Rick, he's having a big problem with fuel right now. Doug Richard, the crew chief, and the rest of the crew over here discussing what it is they can do about it. They're not sure if they're just out of fuel, if they're having a problem with fuel pickup or what have you. But with 1 lap to go, they're hoping that Ron Hornaday can nurse that Papa John's pizza truck around just one more time, around a mile .8 here at Heartland Park.
Joe Ruttman taking your truck, Ernie, throwing everything at him here in the last trip around before the break.
Well, you know, most of the time we don't really make sure it's $1,000 bonus to lead it halfway, and if I had my radio, I'd be telling Joe, you know, there is a $1,000 bonus, so he's not going to get none of it. So I wouldn't tell him that.
That's spoken like a true car owner. Larry, you were talking about fuel pickups and where you put a pickup.
Look,
little trouble there. Hornaday trying to move to the inside of the 09 truck. He gets by Rob Jones of Tempe, Arizona. Ruttman gets by as well, and we come out onto the main straightaway. We'll talk about the pickup in just a moment. Coming up to the halfway point here, and we'll see, I believe, a red flag, a crossed flag to indicate we're at the half-point break. Ruttman to the inside, giving it a try down the main straightaway.
I guess it wasn't actually the halfway yet, because I didn't see any flag yet.
They're showing lap 29. I saw the flagman reach there.
Yeah, lap 29, so it's going to be 30. Because they're going, what, how many laps are they supposed to go?
30 and then the break.
Okay, so now
He's got the cross flag right there.
According to our scoring monitor, that should have been 30.
Well, they'll run over 1 lap to make sure it's halfway,
yeah.
I think.
Ruttman got by going down into turn 1. I'm not sure if he made the pass good before the start-finish line. We'll try to sort this little scoring question out for you here in the moments to come. We were watching the laps tick over. I was pretty sure that would have been 30 that time by, and I did see the flagman bring the crossed flags out to show everybody. But Ruttman did elbow his way by, Ernie.
Yeah, I'm not real sure what's going on here now.
Larry, in terms of fuel pickup, how important is it to do something different on a road course from what you normally do?
It really is, and I might iterate that probably the Hornaday truck is not out of fuel. It holds 22 gallons just like a Winston Cup fuel cell. But because you're turning left and right, we have to do a little different with the pickup. The pickup has to go in the center at the back of the fuel cell, so probably his cell's just not picking it all up.
Now we see the caution coming out, see? So they had to run 1 lap past the halfway to get the caution, so Joe will end up leading to the halfway point.
Well, we'll see how this all shakes out. The pace truck comes back up onto the speedway. Joe Ruttman has the Mac Tools Ford at the point at the moment here at Heartland Park. So he did a great job on that last lap. A lap truck got in the way there and gave Hornaday fits. Hornaday went into the grass to get by the 09 of Rob Jones. Ruttman able to elbow his way past on the last couple of turns around the 1.8-mile circuit here at Heartland Park. We'll be back to tell you more in a moment. We're at the halftime break here of the Heartland Tailgate 175. Rick Benjamin, Ernie Urban, Larry McReynolds here, Glenn Jarrett and Ralph Shaheen on pit road. Hope you're enjoying the first visit by the NASCAR SuperTrucks to a road course. Gentlemen, what do you think so far? Do these trucks belong on a road course?
I think we've had a heck of a race. You know, these guys are going to have to work on forward bite. You got Terry Labonte, who started 22nd. Now he's sitting there 5th. But the big story, and if they called up here right now and said, Larry McReynolds, how can we fix this problem? I don't know how to tell the Hornaday crew to fix this fuel pickup problem in 5 minutes. That's going to be quite a chore.
They need to put more fuel in, is what I see. But, you know, we can't do that. They only have so much. But I tell you, the trucks are really, really handling real well. You know, the lap traffic is obviously going to play a factor, too. So that's how Joe got ahead of Hornaday.
We're told that on pit road they're working on the fuel pickup exactly with Ron Hornaday's race truck, the Dale and Teresa Earnhardt 16. Ralph Shaheen making his way down there to show us exactly what's going on. They've pulled the bed cover off of that truck. Ralph, what do they think they can do in this short period of time?
Well, veteran crew member Banjo Grimm is in there. What they had done was tried a trick setup with the fuel pickup. It was in the middle and the back side. They came out here and tested with it. They thought everything was fine, and apparently it wasn't working. So they're going now to a more traditional fuel pickup position for the truck. And we got Ron Hornaday with us. What was going on with the fuel while you were out there?
We came out here and tested at Topeka, and we had about 5 gallons left in the tank, and it just ran out there with one of them trap door deals. So we tried to put a pickup in the back, and that seemed it didn't work either. So maybe Dennis Fisher just built a heck of a motor, sucking all this gas in. So I don't know. We'll see what we can do. That's a shame. You know, we could have got them, and just the last 4 or 5 laps, we had to shake the truck down the straightaway because it would run out, and I didn't want to burn the motor down.
Well, the big money portion is coming up the next segment, and you were also talking that the truck was a little loose to your crew. With that fixed and the fuel pickup fixed, do you think you have enough to get them?
I sure hope so. Doug Richards and the guys on his Papa John Chevrolet done a great job all weekend, and, you know, our CCA's been with us for a while, so we just, we tighten it up to the left. I think we'll be all right. It's just I can't get into one very good, and out of 2, it's just a little slippery, but other than that, I think we're all right. It's just one of them things. We just got to try and go hard.
30 laps of racing on this surface. I would imagine it is pretty slick by this point.
Well, especially with all the trucks that have been off course.
Yeah.
You know, that gets the racetrack dirty. But the heat, I mean, you know, that's a major factor.
Yeah. Speaking of heat, one driver who's done very well so far, a little overheated too, Darrell Waltrip on pit road with Glenn Jarrett.
Well, the fuel pickup's okay, but the driver is awfully hot. Darrell Waltrip crawling back in the truck right now, getting some assistance from the crew guy here, but man, it's hot, huh, DW?
Well, yeah, I got hot because I didn't know. I thought when the cross flags came out, you quit racing. So Jeff, or Brett, or Todd, that's who it was, he got by me, and that kind of made me real hot. I had to get out and cool off just a little bit. But everything's going good. The truck's running great, and I think I got a little something for him. I wasn't pressing real hard.
I'll say no more.
A wink from DW, which says a lot. Oh, Ernie, you've driven these trucks after years in a Winston Cup car. How do they feel in the driver's seat? They feel different?
You know, basically, the trucks have been a lot looser than the Winston Cup cars, a lot because of no camber in the rear ends. I think the aerodynamic package probably should be a tighter package. So I think the main thing is no camber in the rear ends, so that's what's causing them to be looser.
And a driver like Darrell Waltrip, who's raced everything there is to race in terms of closed-wheel vehicles, can jump right in one and go well the first time out.
Well, there's no doubt. You know, Darrell's a great shoe as far as whether it's a car, truck, whatever it happens to be. He'd probably try the tractor trailer if he needed to and do it real fast.
Probably done that, too, a time or two over the years. Well, we're live at Heartland Park in Topeka. Hope you're enjoying our show. We're at halfway of the Heartland Tailgate 175, the first visit for the NASCAR SuperTruck by Craftsman Series to a road course. We'll come back for the second half, live on TNN in a moment. It's great to have you with us today on TNN. They're firing the trucks. We're trying to sort out where the positions sat at halfway. They've scored 31 laps, and we're told, Ernie, that Joe Ruttman must have known that $1,000 was up. He's taking the lead. He's out in front.
Well, maybe they had us on the radio or something.
Maybe.
You know, and I tell you, Joe must be pretty happy with the truck because he's the first one lined up, ready to go again.
Set to get at it, P.J. Jones, a driver of whom much was expected here today. Disappointing first half. We're told they've changed springs in that car. They're working on the jacking bolts, jacking the car in the back on the road course.
Well, if they change the spring, you know, then what they had to do, they had to make sure and get the height back right, and then, of course, the wedge setting back right. I'd be interested to see if they went a little stiffer or a little softer, not knowing the characteristics of the car. But that's the good thing about this brake. These guys can adjust on the car. Now, I'm telling you, I'm interested in this deal right here, how they fix that fuel pickup in that 16 car.
You were saying your team had played with fuel pickup points when you were here earlier. It was hard to change anything in such a short time.
Well, actually, with Mark Simo's truck, the 94 truck, we were having the same trouble. We weren't really acting like we were going to be able to run the full deal. So, I mean, you know, nonchalantly, we went ahead and tried to work on it. Couldn't really find what we could do different. When they had done it, we had an hour to do it. They just did it in 5 minutes. You know, that's pretty good.
Amazing to see. Now, in this situation, 30 laps to go. If you had to make a fuel stop, you'd ruin your chances to win, obviously.
Right. You just can't make a fuel stop. You know, right now, if you had to make a fuel stop, you're probably gonna run 15th or 17th.
And now consider this too. We are past halfway by 1 lap, so these drivers able to go out with a full load of fuel and run 29 laps to the checkered flag. So theoretically, at least, no one should run into problems here. But it'll be interesting to watch those last 4 or 5 laps, I think.
Now you got to remember though, they ran a lot of laps under the caution.
That's true.
So they don't suck down as much fuel under the caution. So if it goes green the whole time, I would say Hornaday's going to have trouble again.
I believe if I was Doug Richard, I'd be telling Hornaday to conserve fuel right now under these caution laps right here. Conserve as much fuel as you can. That way, if they do have a long green run, hopefully he'll have enough to go to the end.
And we're running basically Winston Cup chassis type cars with Jericho transmissions. I want to ask you about short shifting in a moment. Let's show you our mid-race recap. We've only had 2 leaders. Rutman, the only other leader, the 16, Ron Hornaday, led from the green flag. Rutman took the lead the last trip around, just before the halfway point. There's Butch Miller in the Ray Bestis Ford. Butch turned in a great performance at Colorado National Speedway a couple of weeks ago on that short track, holding off Mike Skinner by inches. I was watching, we were at Pocono for the Winston Cup race, and I happened to be watching the broadcast of the truck event from Colorado. I thought Miller had lost the race. I really did.
I tell you, it was a great race.
Yeah.
And you know, the trucks have been putting on some really good races.
It's been a terrific success in this first year, and we're pleased to be bringing a good many truck races to you here live here on TNN Motorsports this season as we watch the field roll out onto Heartland Park's 1.8-mile road course. See P.J. Jones snaking the Sears #1 back and forth back there. He wants to move up. He's going to restart back in 14th spot, start at 12th, and you know P.J. Jones is not happy with that situation. And we watch the rest of the field moving around, getting ready to go. As Terry Labonte will start from a very good 5th spot in truck #5. Right behind him, Rick Corelli. Coming up after our event concludes, the Ford Credit 300, the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series will be live at South Boston, Virginia. Mike Joy, Buddy Baker, Randy Pemberton will be there to bring you the action live on TNN. Looks like 1 more lap till we go green. 29 laps left. Is this the time to stop being conservative, Ernie, and get after it?
Well, I mean, you know, right now is when it's going to pay the deal. And, you know, I think that Joe Ruttman obviously leading the race, where Skinner hadn't had to pass, or Hornaday hasn't had to pass anybody. He was awful tough in the first half. So now we're going to see what Hornaday's made out of and what Joe's going to be made out of. Plus, we got to keep an eye on Darrell Waltrip, Terry Labonte. Yeah. We're going to have a whole list of them.
Todd Bodine probably will be a contender here, too. They've had a chance to work on the Roush Ford truck. Glenn Jarrett on pit road for us this afternoon. How you holding up in the heat there, big guy?
Well, you know, it's not too bad. The last time I was this hot was last Tuesday when I triple bogeyed 2 holes in a row. But other than that, it's not too bad down here. I went down and checked with Joe Ruttman's crew. He got away before we got a chance to talk to Joe. I asked him what they did. Obviously, they put 4 fresh tires on it. They said they put every drop of fuel in the truck that they could possibly squeeze in it. So they are concerned about fuel down here. Also, let me just ask real quickly, Rick Garoni, Rick Corelli's crew chief, you said you had a loose condition. What have you done to it, Joe?
We changed the front springs, went a little bit stiffer, try and tie it down, played with our tire pressure in the rear a little bit. It'll definitely tighten it up. If we didn't go too much, we'll be all right.
Well, they always hope they did, and I think I called him Rick Garoni. That's Joe Garoni, Rick Corelli's crew chief. So a lot of guys fighting a lot of problems, but as you're saying, and I kind of go along with Ernie, one of the things that they're really concerned about is that fuel mileage. And for the Snell Foundation down here, I've been keeping track. Rick, you owe $2 so far. Larry, you owe $1. And Ernie, you're perfect. Way to go, man.
Practice.
Happy to make the contribution. Thanks, Glenn. Good update on Kerry Teague. We were under red flag conditions because he had whacked the wall hard in truck #51 earlier. He is conscious, we're told, and his injuries are not life-threatening. So that is great news. Happy to bring that report to you. We wish Kerry and his family and his crew all the best as they put things back together and prepare to head home to North Carolina. Getting ready to go. If you want to save fuel, can you short shift here?
Well, I don't know about short shifting, but one thing these guys are doing is they're shaking the trucks back and forth to heat the tires up. Every time they do that, it'll slosh the gas out of there.
Out of the vent.
Out of the vent, out of the actual, the fuel neck, all that stuff. So if I was on the radio with Joe Ruttman right now, I'd be saying, quit doing that because that's going to be costing us some fuel mileage.
Pace truck is in. Joe Ruttman will lead them off turn 10 and 11. We'll go green. A moment ago, we were on board with Davy Jones, the IMSA champion. Jones, we thought, would do real well here today. He's only 19th at the restart. 29 to go at Heartland Park, live on TNN. Great to have you with us. The green is out. Up through the gears they come, and we are back underway to begin lap 32.
Don't look like Hornaday's going to waste much time trying to get back by Joe.
Not worried about fuel mileage here. Into turn 1, race for the lead, and there is trouble. We've got trucks in the wall coming off turn 11. Again, it's Scott Legacy. And Rick Hendrick is involved there, too. Legacy's going to check on the boss, I think. He just spun the truck around. Battle for the lead at the other end of the track, and it looked like Hornaday was going to get by Rutland, and he has done that as we watch him come out of turn 2.
They have said Hornaday has had an awesome motor here this weekend, and you know, Joe was telling me that he could pull him 2 or 3 car lengths, or you know, down the track, and it sure looked like he just did.
Hornaday taking back the top spot that he held right up until the last lap before the break, and he has started to stretch it out now, and we see Hendrick with some damage on the right front corner of the Budweiser Chevrolet. He brings the truck down onto pit road, and it may be the end of the afternoon for the team owner of Hendrick Motorsports.
Had a tire rubbing the fender there, so they're going to have to get in and get that fender off the tire.
Leaders working out at turn 11. We watch the battle here. Todd Bodine and Darrell Waltrip in the 52. Todd in the 61. They are 3rd and 4th. Terry Labonte is up to 5th. The 3 now, Mike Skinner has come back. Now remember, at the start of the races, we watched DW down the main straightaway. Skinner and another truck has spun. Davy Jones has spun off of turn 11 right in front of our position. We'll get a camera on that in a moment. And a little bit of fire out of the
also the Walker Evans had spun in the corner before that.
We're inside with Davy Jones. He's popped the wheel in the net. He's getting out. There's a little bit of fire cooking under the hood, apparently, of the 18. So Davy Jones says, I've had enough. Let's get out and watch this one for a while.
He decided refiring wasn't quite the hot ticket right there.
It's already firing, apparently. Not the way he wanted it to.
Yeah, there was more fire than he wanted.
Davy Jones, the IMSA champion, Indy 500 veteran, had a good run going in Indianapolis this year. His bid came a cropper late in the race, started the season in Winston Cup driving the Jasper Transmissions US Air Ford for DK Ulrich, and lost that ride several weeks ago, making his return here today in the SuperTrucks, and he will not be around at the finish.
You know, Rick, I want to point something out about this truck right here. This truck is owned by Kirk Rourke. Now, Kirk Rourke builds about all the shop dynos that most of the Winston Cup teams have on their transporter and at their shop. Kirk's a really knowledgeable guy, has a lot of knowledge with shocks, and there you see Rourke Engineering. He's just a sharp individual, and said he just enjoys racing, so he wanted to do a super truck.
And he's got a great guy in the pilot's seat, Davy Jones, a terrific race driver, very strong on road courses. Unfortunately, he'll not be around at the finish today. We're under caution again here at Heartland Park, just past the green flag for the halfway break. We had that little tangle off of turn 11 with Rick Hendrick and Scott Legacy, and then Davy Jones and Walker Evans got into it. Jones' truck with a little fire under the hood, and that's the reason for the caution. Glenn Jarrett, you've got a question for us up here?
Yeah, guys, I'm just, I'm standing down here, and I can't see a whole lot except when they come by me down here in the front stretch. So I got a lot of time to think, and I'm just wondering, we were talking about the Snell Foundation a moment ago and how you got, why is it the only guy in the booth that's had a head injury is the only one that can remember to say truck?
Maybe because he owns 2 of them. I don't know. What do you think? Logical answer.
I'd say he has spent about $1 million on trucks, so he obviously knows what they are.
We're under caution at Heartland Park, Topeka. Ron Hornaday Jr. in the 16 is your leader as the Davy Jones Rourke Engineering crew push their truck off the course. We're back in a moment. If you'd like to know more about Featherlight trailers, they carry most of these NASCAR teams in all the major series to and from the racetrack. Give them a call, 1-800-800-1230. Featherlight, the official trailer of NASCAR. And we're officially glad to be with you today at Heartland Park in Topeka, live here on TNN. We've had some interesting developments in the last few moments. We're under caution again. Rick Hendrick had a tire go down, a little damage to the right front corner. He's back on pit road. He went out and made a lap under caution, came back on pit road. And we're going to show you just exactly what happened as they worked down toward turn 9 and 10. Davy Jones already in trouble at that point. Walker Evans had spun Jones' car. It looked like the fire had started back there.
Looks like something maybe had developed. He may have an engine terminal problem there. There you see Walker Evans getting in the tire barrier there and doing a lot of damage right there. Those tires can save you, but they can do a lot of damage too.
Favorite spot for Walker Evans, off the road. Didn't have any knobby tires to help him though. Evans, if you don't follow off-road racing, many-time champion of the SCORE off-road series, not referring to his lack of ability on a road course by any means, just familiar with driving through the dirt. Davy Jones there twirling and stopping, and he is parked right in front of us now. They've dumped some chemical under the hood to put the fire out, so the 18 out of commission for the day, and a tough way to end his first outing for Davy Jones in that Roaring Engineering vehicle. Now, Rick Hendrick on pit road once again, still working on the right front corner of that race truck. What do you think, Larry? What's likely to be wrong there?
I saw a guy with a string a while ago. Evidently, when he got off the course, he's knocked the toe out. In other words, the front wheels are pointing out too far or pointing in too far. And they had a string a while ago. They got the fender pulled off the tire. Now they're just trying to adjust the tie rods to get the toe out somewhat back close.
We talked earlier about how Rick Hendrick has done a good bit of road racing, although it's been a few years. He ran here at Heartland Park in an ARCA car a couple of seasons ago. Before we got going today, we had a chance to talk to Hendrick and ask him what it's like to drive as opposed to being a team owner in Winston Cup racing.
I love to drive. I love to race boats. I love to race cars, and you know, but I know where my role is, and I know where my talent is, and my talent, I think, is trying to keep it together and give the guys good equipment and motivate them to go out and win championships.
Win championships indeed. They've got a driver leading the championship chase right now in the Winston Cup Series. Jeff Gordon, in only his second full year in the Winston Cup Series. You see a truck painted a lot like his Winston Cup car rolling by. Terry Labonte at the throttle of the 5. Terry's up to 5th and holding at the moment, although he looks like he's going to be a contender before we're done today here at Heartland Park. We're back in a moment.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Heartland Tailgate 175 on TNN is brought to you by 104 Plus Octane Boost. Feel the power.
Back live at Heartland Park, and the green has come back out. 36 laps complete, 24 to go. And it is still Ron Hornaday out in front, and he's opened up 6 or 7 car lengths, or truck lengths, we should say. I don't want to have to be fined another $1, Glenn Jarrett, but let's call it 6 or 7.
You did have to already.
Yeah, that's another one. Take it away from me. Over Joe Ruttman, who is second. We watched Terry Labonte trying to move up on Darrell Waltrip. Those first 5 are very close together.
Yeah, I tell you, you know, I mean, that's what this race is going to come. We're all, they're having to show their stuff. You also got to look at that 3 truck. The 3 trucks come back to 6th. And he was one of the faster trucks in practice, also the point leader. So he's going to make sure that he finishes up towards the front.
The Childress Racing Chevrolet Skinner went right off the course at the drop of the green back at 2 o'clock today when we first came to you. Went off into the weeds, rejoined the pack at the back. He's come all the way from 33rd to come up to 7th right now. And he is chasing hard Terry Labonte, who is up in front of him 1 spot ahead. Now, Rick Corelli just got passed. So Skinner has moved up now to 6th. Labonte is 5th. DW is 4th as they try to move up on the leaders. It's been Hornaday all the way. Ralph, what's going on down there with the Skinner pit? They've got to be happy with the progress.
Well, they are pretty excited about that part of it, Rick, especially since they've changed their strategy here for the second half of the Craftsman SuperTruck season. They have decided to be a little bit more conservative and go for the points and see if they can't get a championship win out of this, just like they do with Richard Childress's Winston Cup program. They know they've built up some good points in the first half of the season. Now they want to get good finishes, keep building on those points, and try to claim the championship.
Skinner working hard up to 6th position. He's close to Labonte as they work out of turn 11 to the main straightaway. Ernie, this is going to be a dandy here. They're getting very close together.
Yeah, I tell you, it sure is. And, you know, Mike Skinner, the hat's off to him because he doesn't have any road race experience much at all. And I talked to him some last night, and, you know, what little bit of testing they've done at Sears Point and here, it's about all the road race stuff he's had.
Back at the beginning of the year, the opener for the series was supposed to be at Sears Point. All the flooding in California eliminated that date. They've put it off to October. There'll be 2 road races this year, but we won't go to Sears Point until the fall. So it'll be a while before these drivers see this sort of situation again. How hard is it to pick up road racing if you haven't done much of it?
Well, it's not real hard, but again, you know, unless you're in real good equipment, it's real hard to do. I mean, you have to have something with really good brakes, and also the guys that are working on it, they make sure the brakes are the proper amount on the front, the proper amount on the rear. You know, we have a bad problem about having wheel hop because a lot of drivers try to downshift too early, and that's what causes a lot of wheel hop. So one of the things that we've worked with Mark Semo, he doesn't have a lot of experience at all road racing. He has run some other divisions, but he's had a bad trouble about wheel hop, and it's because he tries to downshift too hard.
Good battle for 3rd spot. Todd Bodine in the Roush 61, Darrell Waltrip in the 52, and the 5 of Terry Labonte battling for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. There are your 2 leaders, Hornaday and Joe Ruttman, 1 and 2 off into turn 1. There's the battle for 3rd spot, and a good one it has become.
You know, Rick, this is a battle that fans have seen for years on road courses. Is Terry Labonte and Darrell Waltrip. It drifts way back into the 80s, seeing these two guys go after each other road course.
I'm sure it's the 70s. I think if you look how old Darrell is. But maybe
Terry
not
would
with
be
Bobby.
mad about that if he heard
Terry,
you say that.
I had to think about that. But
Well, I can remember at Riverside many times those two drivers being in the thick of things late in the going. The old Riverside Raceway in California, where we went so many times for Winston Cup events, and Darrell had some victories out there, and Terry Labonte had some good runs in his early years out there too. So, as you say, very familiar territory for those two to be working on each other. But Todd Bodine, a driver again who we have not thought of in the past as being a particularly strong road racer, but he's right up there in the hunt. We watched Toby Butler, who's done a nice job today, and Butch Miller, a guy who we haven't given much of a call to today, but he's running back in that battle for 9th and 10th. And Miller, a guy who's got championship intentions here too this season.
Also Jack Sprague. I mean, you know, he has no road race experience too. So, but Butch Miller, you know, is had some ASA experience with the road course. So, man, I tell you, you know, this truck division has opened up a lot of avenues for a lot of different drivers. You know, we have a really good experience with a lot of different places. You know, some guys have got a lot of road race experience. Some guys have got a lot of other types of racing, whether it's a short track or whatever. But I mean, I tell you, you know, it's opened up a lot of avenues.
Sprague showing 9th, and Butch Miller just got by him for 9th spot as they work up toward turn 2. They're trying to track down Toby Butler, who is 8th. I was asked earlier in the week by a reporter for the Kansas City Star what I thought was so interesting about the truck series this year. And that's it to me, that you have drivers from so many different series. You've got Sammy Swindell, you've got road race stars like B.J. Jones, NASCAR veterans in the thing, some Winston Cup drivers trying it. It's really great. It's kind of an all-star series to me.
I mentioned earlier in the year at one of the truck races, it's almost like a miniature IROC. There's so many winners and champions from different divisions in this Super Truck series.
Leaders continue to be the 16 of Hornaday, the 98 of Ruttman. Glenn Jarrett, Toby Butler has really turned in a good ride here so far today.
Well, he has so far, Rick, but you know, he's nursing an ill truck. The Ortho Lawn and Garden Ford is not up to snuff today. He's holding on to 8th right now, but they had an engine that was in the truck yesterday that came out. He ran some real good practice laps. It blew after 8 laps. They had to put an engine that was really on the truck going to go gone through. They were going to redo it, but it's got a lot of laps on it. And he says it's down about 100 horsepower, but you know, that's not as bad as it could be today because it's so slick. Therefore, he's not spinning the tires. But to make matters worse, his crew chief, Dave Nelson, yesterday when they were changing engines, ran up in the truck to get a part, caught his arm on something, fell, and broke his left hand. So he's got to have surgery Monday. So hadn't been a real good week for him, but they got a top 10 run going.
Need a good finish here to make this one worthwhile, I think.
You know, Rick, to be down 100 horsepower, that says a lot for their truck and for Toby's ability to get around this place, because that's a lot of horsepower to spot somebody.
Would this be a place though where you might try to detune your motor a little bit if you had a real strong one, Ernie?
Oh, I don't think so. You know, only reason you detune it is to try to make sure you can go on fuel. You know, all the horsepower in the world could be used today because we have a throttle and your right foot pushes it. So the motor doesn't make very much horsepower at half throttle.
Great battle for 12th. P.J. Jones and Tommy Archer and Bill Sedgwick, and Jones and Archer get together. A couple of road race veterans, and Jones went in awfully hot and took Archer to the high side. Sedgwick snuck by to pick up 2 spots there.
Turn 10, it just runs out. It's like the corner just quits right there, and it's got a lot of people in trouble today.
We'll show you what happened one more time as we watch those 3 trucks get after it. Here's that right-hand turn into turn 9. Archer in the 03, the red Minnesota Ford. P.J. Jones is going to try to go outside here and then inside.
Run out of corner.
And Sedgwick was right there to take advantage.
You know, it's a deal that no matter what, when you're behind somebody, you could cut that corner and try to go in there straight. That's really taking away something from your competitor because, you know, obviously you're going to wreck and somebody's going to do it. But Tommy Archer had the right line, but he went ahead and stuck it in there, and that just wasn't going to work.
B.J. Jones and Archer taking each other off to the side of the race course, and Sedgwick gained 2 spots. Your leader, the 16, Ron Hornaday Jr., still out in front. Joe Ruttman is second. We're scoring lap 43, 17 to go here at Heartland Park, and we'll be back on TNN. Back live at Heartland Park in Topeka, Kansas. Great to have you with us today on TNN. Walker Evans in the 20, the Dodge. Gentlemen, I think Walker's trying to find his way to the Baja today or something. He's been off the course a good bit. We're going to show you what happened here a moment ago, right before, while we were in commercial, actually. Walker has been all over the lot in truck number 20. Nice 360 on the race course there.
He had a good plan here. He was headed back on the racetrack, but it just didn't quite work out. So I'm going to try again.
Walker is a veteran, a great off-road racer. It's a treat to have him in the SuperTruck series by Craftsman. I think he's maybe off because he doesn't see any boulders and trees and stuff there.
That's a good sample right there of no forward bite. The rear wheels was just spinning, but no, the truck wasn't going anywhere.
Walker in his Dodge, the truck number 20. He has been off the course a few times here today, and we're kidding him, but he's a great guy and a real asset to the series. Steve Portengay had looped it up there coming out of turn number 8, too, in the 83 truck, as we watch Walker work his way around the course, coming off turn 11. There's Portengay's 83, the Coffee Critic truck.
There went the leaders right there.
Yeah, leaders are coming back around to put another lap on the board. This will be lap 46, and it's still Hornaday and Ruttman running 1 and 2. So we watch Portengay get pointed in the right direction in truck number 83. Good battle here. If we could show you the battle for third, Todd Bodine still trying to hang on to that spot. Darrell Waltrip and Terry Labonte giving him everything he can possibly handle as the leaders are a good half a straightaway out in front.
I tell you, this place is really hard to pass. I mean, you know, I rode around there this morning because I didn't really know what the racetrack was all about. It's a tough place to get around, but it's real hard to pass because everybody, whether you can run 110 flat, if a guy can run a 112 flat, he can hold you up.
Not a lot of room on some of these corners.
I'm not so sure that Skinner is not quicker than these guys right here. He caught him in a hurry, but he just can't get by him. But we can't forget that's the best in the business right there. He's trying to get by.
Terry Labonte and Darrell Waltrip know how to make a truck pretty wide on a road course. As we go on board, Rick Corelli, who ran up in the top 3 and 4 early on, he's scored back in 7th right now, but he's got a good seat to watch this. The 61 of Todd Bodine running 3rd, his first outing in a Super Truck for Roush Racing here, their inaugural into the series. Skinner back in 7th, dogging Terry Labonte hard as they come to that turn 8 and 9 and 10 section here, the back end of the road course here at Heartland Park, Topeka. And Skinner really is working well.
And you got to remember too, Skinner is like on cruise mode in a lot of ways because Richard Childers is on that radio going, that 984 truck is running 2nd. If you run where we're at, we're going to still probably keep the point lead, and that's what their main concern is, the points right now.
Whereas drivers like Terry Labonte and Darrell Waltrip are here to win.
That's it.
They haven't been pursuing the series full time, so the point issue is not important to them as much as it is to the drivers who are in the thick of the title chase like Hornaday and Skinner.
And not to take anything away from all the drivers are here to win, but the whole point is if you're doing it for the point deal, I mean, you know, you have to be a somewhat conservative. Richard Childers and them are going to make sure that they don't overstretch the motor, overwind it. They probably don't have a rev limiter. They got rev limiter chips in a little higher or lower than normal. And I think that's going to make sure that they finish the race. Toby Butler's got something hanging on the back panel.
He went off course a moment ago. We're going to show you his spin as he comes up behind Tommy Archer and Portengay. Here's Butler, one truck. That looks like the Butch Miller truck. They got together going into the corner there.
Yeah, Butch got into him a little bit, or Toby come down on him.
Butler had a good run going up in 9th with that truck that's off seriously at power. And a spin for, is that Scott Legacy once again? It looks like it is. They are going to need new sheet metal fore and aft on that 24 when this thing is over with.
Scott has really had a tough day. And, you know, I told a lot of people coming out here that, there he goes again. It's just the truck just not working very good for him at all. Because I know Scott is a great road racer. He runs 2nd last year at Watkins Glen in the Busch Grand National car. Just things aren't quite working out for him today.
What would cause that? I mean, obviously there's something wrong when a world-class driver, especially a great road racer, is backwards several times in a row. What would happen in a case like that?
I would say that the truck is probably just, it's not handling good at all. It's either probably not, it's loose maybe getting in, it's not cutting the center of the corner. In the forward bite situation, it's so hard to drive a truck that's not getting good forward bite, and it's just had a rough day for him.
You know, he could have a main problem too of wheel hop. You know, he could definitely, you know, being downshifting so early and actually slowing down so much with the transmission. That we've got a heck of a race for the lead, and those two trucks are closer than they ever have been.
Ruttman trying to track down Hornaday. We're not too far away from the 10 to go mark. Ralph Shaheen on pit road. What's the situation for Scott Legacy right now?
Rick, he's had problems with the brakes locking up on him all weekend long, where he'd go down there not exactly smoking the brakes as he goes into the corner, but the wheels would lock up to a point where he had no control over the truck as he would dive into the turns, and he did loop it over the weekend in practice because of that very reason. So he could be having the same problem here this afternoon.
We watch Joe Ruttman in second spot in the Mac Tools 84. Legacy back on course. We understand there was a little contact here, perhaps involving P.J. Jones as well. P.J. right behind Legacy there as they come out of that right-hand corner.
He was really lucky that another truck didn't get into him right there. It was right in the middle of a pretty good sized pack.
Legacy got it pointed in the right direction. Reed fired. Portengate went up on the curbing to get away from him there, and everybody able to continue.
You know, one thing, Scott has spun a couple of times, and possibly he may have some flat spotted tires, and that could be causing a problem now that can't be corrected unless they change tires.
And you know, the one thing about this truck division is you can't change tires unless they're flat.
Really?
And you can only change the flat one. That's one thing we have to realize, is these guys can't come in on a pit stop and put tires on it.
Can't decide that you're out of grip and you need to do
If you're out of grip, you have to have not just flat spotted tires, but tires they're flat. And that's one rule that NASCAR's made because they want to keep the price down.
P.J. Jones on pit road, the Sears diehard #1 with not a great run today. We were looking for good things from this truck team today, but P.J. Jones not really in contention and has been off course a couple of times. We're going to send one of our boys down there to see just what's happened. P.J.'s taking the helmet off. Never a good sign. Glenn Jarrett is standing by. Glenn, what's the situation?
And a disgusted look on P.J.'s face. P.J., what happened?
Well, I think, you know, it all started when I tried to go underneath Bliss. It was probably, you know, my fault. I just got in there, and he just didn't get quite enough alongside of him, and we both spun, and that put us towards the rear. We were battling in some traffic and earlier in the half, and we got stopped up in a car stop. You know, everybody was plugged up, and we hit 75 in the back, and I think it's hurt the grill, and it's got the motor overheated. So, diehard team worked hard. We just don't have it this week.
I can see the temperature gauges, guys. The oil temperature gauge is pegged, and the water temperature gauge is in excess of 250.
The son of a legendary great, the son of Parnelli Jones, former IMSA champ P.J. Jones, his bid to win today at Heartland Park will not work out for him. We're going to be back here at Heartland Park in just a moment. Live at Heartland Park, Topeka, you're on board with Rick Corelli. Strange-looking sunset there as we're up on the roof of the Corelli truck. Butch Miller and Mike Bliss battling for position deep in the pack. Miller 9th, Bliss 10th. There's your leader. Hornaday's led most of the way. Ernie Irvin, Joe Ruttman had the lead for one lap at halfway. Maybe he'll get that second lap lead right at the end when you want to see him lead.
That's when they pay. So, you know, I hope he can, but, you know, we'll have to settle for second if we don't get the break.
Hornaday's looking good all over the race course. You were talking about the best place to pass at the main straightaway. Larry, how do you get set up to make a pass here on the main straightaway?
You know, a lot of these trucks, some of them do have good motors and even better motors, but you can really make an engine in these trucks look really good by how you get off this turn 10, this last corner. If you get off this turn 10 good, you get good forward bite as we've talked about, it's going to really run up that straightaway. If you're having to feather foot it off this corner, it's going to make the motor look like it's not running well.
Battle there for third. Todd Bodine is third in the Roush 61. Terry Labonte is up to fourth in the 5 out of the Hendrick stables with the DuPont colors on that race truck today. Ernie, when you're working on setting up your trucks, what sort of gearing do you look for? Is everybody running pretty much the same thing, or is there really a lot of changes you can do there?
Everybody's got a Jericho transmission, and that's about what everybody has. But, you know, there's a lot of things you can do with the different gear ratios, and also the third member. And, you know, we come up here and tested and found out that we had an overdrive like we'd run at Sears Point. That didn't really work good. So we come back and, you know, redid our stuff, you know, techs and all them, redid our transmissions and stuff. And one truck we had one gear ratio, and another truck we had a different gear ratio. So, you know, everybody's basically using first gear off of this turn 11 here. And, you know, that's one of the things that we didn't have in our transmission before.
Terry Labonte running fourth. Now, we have been watching Darrell Waltrip in the middle of this battle for many, many laps. DW has dropped back. He's back to 6th position right now behind Mike Skinner. So it's really Roush and the Roush truck, rather, with Todd Bodine and Terry Labonte dogfight for third right there as they boom down into turn 1. I want to remind you that coming up immediately after the checkered flag here at Heartland Park, we'll be going live to South Boston Speedway. Mike Joy, Buddy Baker in position to bring us the Ford Credit 300, the Busch Grand National Series event tonight live here on TNN. Is supposed to start right now, 5 o'clock Eastern. They're waiting for us to complete the truck round here at Heartland Park, and we've got 6 laps to go. And that battle for third is a very tight one. Terry Labonte drawing ever so close now on the backside of the road course here at Heartland Park.
Both of these trucks are really working good. They're getting in the corner. Their trucks are cutting the center. Both of them look like they're getting good forward bites, so they're pretty equal right now.
Todd Bodine in his first Super Truck start in that Ford, the 61. Terry Labonte had run at Phoenix in that 5 truck earlier this year, although that is a brand new vehicle. And trouble on the race course for the Channel Lock 38. That's the Ford of Sammy Swindell, the former World of Outlaws champion. And it looks as though it's going to bring out a caution. They're doing full course cautions as a standard procedure here today. A lot of times in road course racing, you'll see a caution at one part of the track. We really haven't seen much of that today.
If I was Doug Richard, I'd be screaming, Ron, stay off the throttle. Keep those butterflies closed right here. We need to try to conserve as much fuel as we can. Looks like somebody's got a serious engine problem.
Yeah.
That's the harmonic balancer, the oil pump pulley, and everything laying right there.
Doesn't run if you don't have that.
Yeah, that's a major problem.
Larry, don't tell Doug what to do. No. You know, hey, I'll cut you in on some of the prize money, man.
Come on now.
Don't tell Doug what to do.
Well, Ralph Shaheen on pit road assessing some of the strategy these teams are going to use in the last couple of laps before the checkered flag. Ralph?
Well, first off, all those engine pieces you saw are what came out of the bottom of Sammy Swindell's motor as he came up the front straightaway. That's what put him out. Well, Doug Richard, Larry McReynolds up in the booth saying everything he would be telling his drivers right now. What are you telling Ron Hornaday?
Well, right now, I'm just telling him, hey, nice, smooth laps. We're trying to save the tires. He's been running a nice, smooth pace. And I don't think the tires are going to be a problem right now. They look real good after the first half, but the little bit of fuel pickup problem we had in the first half, I'm thinking we got it fixed. I got my fingers crossed. The guys did a real good job changing that pickup in only 5 minutes. So if everything comes out through, right now, my hat's off to the crew, So Ron's doing a real good job, and Papa John's is looking really good. RCCA, hey, we're doing it right now, so if we can just keep it up, that's what we're looking for.
You'll have about 5 more laps to go, gentlemen.
We'll see what happens. It's going to get down to it here in just a moment. We want to tell you a little bit about some announcements made here this week at Heartland Park. The Week in Racing brought to you now by Auto Week, America's only enthusiast weekly. Dodge coming back into NASCAR racing. They've dabbled here and there. Of course, Dodge is now the cars in the IROC series. Well, Dodge is posting contingency money for race trucks, for super trucks in the NASCAR SuperTruck by Craftsman series. Any teams running Dodge Rams will get an extra $10,000 for a win. $5,000 for second, $2,500 for third. Walker Evans, the leading Dodge in today's event. That should encourage a few more Dodge teams to come into the series. Auto Week, just give them a call at 1-800-445-3800 now. Pick up a 52-week subscription for just $19.95, lowest price ever. Every week, Auto Week is first with all the inside news of racing and personalities, driving impressions, everything you want to know about the sport. Give Auto Week a call now, 1-800-445-3800. The offer ends Monday. Well worth it. We get a lot of our information and insight from Auto Week as Walker Evans runs under caution here in his Walker Evans Racing Dodge, the number 20 leading Dodge in the event today. We were kidding about Walker and his off-road experience, and he's been off-road a few times today, but good to see him in action here, and we wish him well, being scored 19th in the going as we work up toward 4 laps to go. The Sammy Swindell truck is still on the main straightaway. They haven't removed the 38 as yet, and we remain under full course caution here at Heartland Park. So we're talking about strategy, and the crew chiefs telling these front few drivers to make sure they conserve fuel as we get toward the last couple of laps. Maybe only a 2 or 3 lap sprint to the checkered flag.
It really could be, and right now I would say, like Labonte in particular, Ruttman, they're saying, what can I do to snooker this guy in front of me on this restart? How can I catch him asleep? I'm sure the leaders are thinking the same thing, so it's this restart could determine a big factor in the outcome of this event.
Ernie, put yourself back in the driver's seat. If you're 3rd or 4th in this kind of situation, what do you want to do when the green comes out?
Beat him to the first corner.
Other than the obvious.
But it's going to be kind of tough because he's really getting down that straightaway really good. That's where he had passed Joe before. So, now everybody's truck's handling a little different. They're real low on fuel. Tires are worn out. Not worn out, but they're definitely, some of the speed's gone on them. But the main thing is pressuring him and making him make a mistake.
There's Joe Ruttman in the 84. He'll restart second when we get going here in just a moment.
Todd Bodine, I'm sure what's on his mind is what happened to him earlier in their event after a caution flag, that those tires, they're really hot now, and they built a lot of rubber up under this caution. They're going to have to try to get that rubber off because they're not going to have time to fool around when they drop this green. And if there's debris on the track, which there may well be at this point, you might pick up some debris, some dirt, some grass, whatever. The more they run with these hot tires under caution, the more it's going to pick up, and they really, you see them keep swerving back and forth there. They got to try to keep those tires clean. That's Bob Strait in the 37 coming to the inside of Bodine, gesturing to him, maybe trying to tell Todd something, that maybe he sees something on the truck.
And, you know, I don't know what all that's all about. So, you know, they're going to go green here now. So Hornaday's going to stand on the gas right here. Single file restart. The 37 drops back. The leaders take it out of turn 10 and up onto the main straightaway. Hornaday up through the gearbox, as does Ruttman, and as does the 61 of Todd Bodine. There'll be 2 laps to go, and we'll go back to green flag racing and look at Terry Labonte trying to go to the inside down into turn 1 there. Didn't look like anybody was going to snooker Todd or Ron Hornaday for that matter. Making those trucks pretty wide. Now Labonte up alongside, coming off of turn number 1. He may have an inside move to make on Todd Bodine. Can't do it. Mike Skinner right back there. This is a battle for third, fourth, and fifth. He got him. Terry off the corner quicker, makes the pass on Todd Bodine. And there comes Skinner, going to make the deal too. Mike Skinner definitely stayed hooked up with Labonte. He said, if the door's going to open, I'm going to be there to go through it too. And Todd moved back around as they work through the S's, so Skinner drops back to 5th. DW is 6th in the Kenny Schrader 52. This is Corelli. We're on board with the Total Petroleum truck. He is 7th. Oh, and he spins. And we were on board with him. There you get a nice view of what it's like to take one of these backwards. Hornaday gets it back in, or rather, I'm sorry, Corelli gets it back in gear, refired and up onto the race course, but he loses several spots. He drops in front of Bob Brevac's 34. Your leaders off onto the main straightaway. Should be the white flag, I would think, this time by. We were showing 58 a moment ago. 60 laps. Our distance here today at Heartland Park, but no white flag. I think we'll have 2 to go this time. I sure thought Skinner had got by Todd Bodine, but now all of a sudden Todd Bodine's back by him again. Todd getting back around as they work through the S's. He had the correct line, I think, after he was passed. He was on the inside for the next corner and made the move. Right. Made the move there. Hornaday still your leader in the 16. Ruttman in the 84 runs second. Ruttman off the course just a little. You have to lay a wheel off occasionally coming off those corners to go fast. Well, see, he knows that I'm over here watching. And, oh, Terry Labonte had some trouble. Labonte getting off into the weeds briefly, too, trying to hold back Todd Bodine now for 3rd. Skinner back in 5th. Waltrip is 6th. Your 2 leaders have pretty much moved away from that battle right now. The 16 and the 84 pretty much gone off on their own as we work toward the white flag here at Heartland Park. Terry Labonte up into 3rd spot now, ahead of Todd Bodine, who is 4th, and Skinner in the 3 is 5th. Darrell Waltrip is 6th, but trying to move up in the 52. So you've got a great 4-truck battle for 3rd spot. And what I was talking about is Joe Ruttman's going to definitely have to go off course a little bit and back on, because he knows I'm sitting and watching, and he's going to say, you know, man, I tried all I could do. White flag waving over the field here at Heartland Park. Your leader in the Papa John 16 is Hornaday. There's Labonte in 3rd in the 5. Todd Bodine is 4th. And Skinner is 5th in the 3 as they work toward turn 1. Last trip around. It's 1.8 miles here. Little smoke out of Hornaday's truck. Downshifted for that second corner. I think you're going to have to see a lot of smoke out of that thing to beat him. He's, you know, Ron Hornaday's a good road racer. Yeah. You know, we've been coming to Sears Point, you know, a lot in the West Coast. And Hornaday's always one of the guys that wins that Saturday show. I believe he's won the Southwest Tour race. Right, and he just dominates that thing. So we know he's a great road racer. Terry Labonte in the 5, up to 3rd again. Todd Bodine is 4th. There's Skinner in the 3. Your 2 leaders working through the S's. This is the final lap here at Heartland Park, the Heartland Tailgate 175. Ron Hornaday in the 16 leads him off the last corner. Looks like he's going to lead all but 1 lap. The lap to halfway. Hornaday off the final turn with Ruttman right behind him. This is the battle for 4th. Skinner gives Bodine a bump in the tailgate there. The checkered flag waving. Hornaday is your winner in truck number 16. Ron Hornaday picks up the inaugural SuperTruck visit to Heartland Park in Topeka. Very happy Hornaday crew on pit road. The Dale and Teresa Earnhardt-owned truck, the Papa John's Chevrolet. We'll be back to talk to the winner here at Heartland Park in a moment. And Park in Topeka, the checkered flag has fallen over Ron Hornaday Jr. in the 16. Joe Ruttman takes 2nd. Hornaday trying to find his way to victory lane. First time to the race course and a road course to boot.
And Victory Lane is right below where we are, really in the staging area for the drag strip here. So Hornaday went around once, and he's coming back down pit road now to come to Victory Lane for the winner's ceremony. Actually, maybe he's going to get some ice thrown in the truck with him. Looked like they were putting some drinks in there with him. Congratulations, certainly, to Ron
It's not
Hornaday.
too bad of a problem to have, is not being able to find Victory Lane.
That's the least of your problems. He's loading up the crew. Going to take the crew of the 16 on down to Victory Lane for the ceremonies and the presentation of the trophy here at the Heartland Tailgate 175. We're going live to South Boston, Virginia in just a moment for the Busch Grand National Series. Ernie Urban, Larry McReynolds, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate having you here. Wish we had a little more time to talk about how this one played out. Want to thank Ralph Shaheen and Glenn Jarrett on pit road. We'll see you tomorrow on race day on TNN.